Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another lesson. This lesson is going to be on percents. Okay, it's in the ratio, proportion, and percent section. So, I'm going to read the key ideas. This is basically the first page that explains about percents. I'm going to let you guys pretty much read this on your own. Okay, and then I'm going to go over the actual worksheet with you guys, but I will read these key ideas. The percent symbol, percent means out of 100. Something good to remember. The three elements of a percent problem are the base, the part, and the rate. Percent problems can be solved by writing a proportion that has a denominator of 100. Okay, so go ahead, pause this, and you can read over this whole page or whatever. Well, you should read over it actually. Let's see, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with the actual worksheet. Okay, so if you've already done the other part, we can start here. Okay, so number one, for each situation, identify and label the base, part, and the rate. The base, the part, and the rate. In case it sounded like only two things that I said there. Okay, so this is actually pretty simple, but it's just a way to think of it in your head and actually learn to separate what the actual parts are and put them in the right places. So, for example, Victor owes his uncle $1,000. Recently, he gave his uncle $200. The payment was 20% of the money he owes. Okay, so basically the base is, let's say, the part that is the foundation, I guess, Victor owes his uncle $1,000. So, the fact that he owes his uncle $1,000 to begin with, regardless of how much he pays off, this will always be the same. Okay, maybe he'll pay 200 off, then he'll only 800, but originally he borrowed 1,000. So that's the base. It's the foundation that won't change. You can think of it that way. Okay. And then recently he gave his uncle $200, which is a part. Okay. $200 is a part of that base. Okay. And then the payment was 20% of the money he owes. So the percentage is always the rate, not the 100% that would go down here. Okay. But the percent that, let's see, the payment was 20%. So I guess part percent, which is this part here, 200. It's part of the total percentage of this 1,000 here. Same here. This 20% is part of what would actually be the whole percentage down here. So this is the base. 1,000 is the base. This is the part, which 200 is the part. Okay. And 20 is the rate. So the percentage here that it shows is always the rate. Okay. Let's clear this, and I'm not going to go over all of these because all of these are pretty much exactly the same over and over. Like, you'll actually see how simple this is. Okay, on number 2 is on a test with 80 problems, so we know 80 is the total. Well, let's finish reading. Sophie got 72 problems right. In other words, she answered 90% of the problems correctly. So 80 is the base. Okay, that's the total amount. Okay, we couldn't have changed the amount of problems, but we could have changed the amount that got right or wrong. Okay, so this is part of the base here. Then the 90 is the rate. 90% is the rate. Okay. And basically, guys, you can solve these in the same way as we went over the proportions, which is, let me give you an example. You know, this will always be 100 in these problems we're doing, just to prove that to you. So I always multiply to the side, diagonally to the side that has the missing variable, which is the x. Okay, so I multiply 80 times 90. So you multiply diagonally towards the side with the x. Okay, then divide horizontally towards the only variable that's remaining. Okay, so 90, 80, what did I do? 80 times 90, I believe I did that, 7,200 divided by 72 equals 100. Okay, so we know that this is always 100, but that just verified to us that this is correct. Say we were missing, say we were missing the 72. Okay, let's erase this. Doing the same thing that I just said would give us the 72. So we're missing 72, but we do know the 100. So multiply diagonally towards, actually, yeah, this would now be the side with the x, or missing variable. Okay, so you would multiply towards the side with the missing variable, which is, sorry guys, let me erase these lines because they might confuse you. This line we can keep because it's still diagonal in that direction. So 90 times 80 we already did, and that is 7,200. 90 times 80. Don't actually have to equals, we can just go directly into divide, but I just want to show you 7,200. Now we divide that this way, horizontally. So divided by 100 equals 72. See? So whichever variable you're missing, as long as you do this formula here, you'll get it. Okay, let's see. Okay, now number 3. The Kang family made a down payment of $2,740 on a new car. The down payment was 20% of the purchase price of $13,700. Okay, so 13,700 is the base. Okay, because that's the total amount. 13,700. Okay. Then we have 2,740, which is the part, the down payment, which is a part of the total amount, of this total amount. Okay, so we have 20, which is the percentage of the part. Okay, so here we have the base, the part, and the rate. Okay, again, we know percent is always the rate. So really you just have to figure out those other two there, which is, as you can tell, pretty easy. Okay, number 4, Zoe takes home pay each month. Zoe's take home pay each month is $2,000. She spends $500 on rent each month, which is 25% of her take home pay. So $2,000 is what she makes each month. Okay. Spends $500 on rent, and with 25, which is 25%. 25% is the rate. Okay. So we have the base, part, that's P by the way, in case you didn't notice, and the rate. And by the way, guys, that will always be the same order. Base will always be on the bottom, part will always be right here, and the rate will always be up here. Okay? Now you just have to figure out which numbers go where. Okay, this one's a little trickier. This year, Raphael has 60 regular customers, which is 150 of the 40 regular customers he had last year. Okay, so 40 in this particular case is the base because we're talking about the total amount of customers he had last year. Okay, this is 60 is the one that has changed. Okay, 40 has remained the same. The whole last year, 40 is the number of regular customers. Another indicator here, well, let me just put 60 up here. Another indicator is the 150%. Okay, so we know down here, we know that up here, the rate part can be higher or less than 100. Okay, but down here will always be 100. So if it's anything different than 100, we know it's not this part right here. And because the rate, which is the rate here, which is equal to 60, okay, in this little problem is, I kind of forgot where I was going with this. Anyways, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so again, this is the base. Base is always here, part is always here, and the rate is always there. Okay, so we have 60 is part, 40 is the base, 150 is the rate. Okay. Now we have Kayla bought a dress for $38. Okay. She paid $3.23 in sales tax, so that's part of the $38. The sales tax rate in her state is 8.5. So there gives you that right away. The rate is 8.5. So 38 is the base. Okay, 323 is part of the base. I think we can do dollar sign here since this is dollars. Then the rate is great, 8.5. Actually, it's not great. That's relatively high. In my state, it's 6%. Okay, so base, part, and rate. I'm gonna do one more here for you guys. There's one that's, I went over this a little earlier. There's one that's slightly different as well, which is number 10 here. So these are, again guys, just keep doing what I showed you. 10 here is, in an election, 5,000 of the 12,000 registered voters actually voted. So the reason this one's not as strange as the one that was as number 5 over here, but it does show the base before the rate, the part before the base. So I thought some of you might get confused. So in an election, 5,000 of the 12,500 registered voters actually voted. 12,500 of the registered voters actually voted. Okay, so 5,000, which is 40%. 5,000 is 40% of 12,500. So again, base, part, rate. Okay, now we're gonna scroll down here. Okay, number 11. So here, guys, this is a little refer to the following information, a little chart here. A local newspaper printed the following high school basketball standings. So these are the wins, these are the losses. Number 11. Which of the following expressions could be used to find what percent of its total games Fairfax has won? Okay, so here's Fairfax, okay? So they've won 9 games, okay? So they've won 9 games out of their total games. Their total games is 9 plus 3, which is 12. So that is the base. 12 is the base. And the part, which is the amount that they've won, is 9. Okay? And we know that, so for like, oh, they only give us 2 numbers, which of the following expressions could be used to find what percent of its total games Fairfax has won? So we're like, well, how do I figure that out? We only have 2 numbers. Remember, guys, this number on the bottom will always be 100 because this is the percent side. And remember, in the previous page it says percent means out of 100. Let me see if I can find that. Yes. See the percent symbol? Percent means out of 100. That's in the key ideas right here. Okay, so we will always have that third variable as long as we have 2 numbers. Okay, so remember how I said to do this. X is the missing variable. So we multiply diagonally towards the side with the X. 9 times 100, well, I don't have to tell you that that's 900, but I will do it on the calculator. So 9 times 100, then we need to divide horizontally to the last known variable, which is 12. So 100 divided by 12 equals 75. So they've won 75% of their games. Okay, let's put percent sign here. They've won 75. 9 wins out of 12 is 75%. So think of this. You always have to set it up this way. Remember, so remember what we did. 9 times 100 divided by 12. So look here. 9 times, let me get a, let's see if I get the pointer up. No, I can't. Okay, well, 9 times 100 divided by 12. Okay, so when it's, with the line going across there, it's always a division problem. So that's basically what we did. 9. We didn't do 3 times 100, divided by 12. We didn't do 12 times 100 divided by 9. We didn't do 6 times 100 divided by 12. We did 9 times 100 divided by 12. So A is your answer there. Okay, now numero 12. That is after I clear this canvas. Number 12, what percent of its games did Bravo win? So Bravo won 6 games out of 6 games. Well, we know 6 out of 6 is 100%. So they won all their games, which is 100%. That is A. Okay, number 13. A jacket with a price tag of $128 is on a rack with the following sign. The sign says, all items 25% off. All items 25% off, marked price, discount taken at register. So we know that there's 25% off this 128. So the base part is 128. That's the cost. Okay. Part of that is, well, that's what we have to find out actually. We know that this is out of 100. We can always put 100 here. And we know that it's 25% off. Okay. So this is a missing variable. So remember, we multiply diagonally towards the side with the missing variable. That is just the way it is. Okay, so 25 times 128. 25 times 128 equals 3,200. Now we divide it horizontally. So divided by 100 equals 32. So there is our missing variable, 32. So the question is, by how much will the price be reduced when the jacket is taken to the register? Well, it'll be reduced by $32. Okay? So that's your answer right over yonder. Just want to make sure that's it. Yeah, and I think that's it, guys. So thanks again for watching. Hit the like, subscribe button if you appreciated my help. If you know somebody that is going through GED, go ahead and share this with them, and see you next time.